And so I do think that when we teach people, you should use metaphors. It's helpful. They think, oh, I'm not that creative.
Hmm.
I can't always come up with a metaphor. And like that's, and I think it's, you tell me, I think it's okay to bring a metaphor, but it's so much stronger if it's their metaphor.
Well, and I think like if we're looking at the competencies, and let's just take a look at evoking awareness because you had brought that up earlier, and we're thinking 7.5 coach shares an observation, insight, thought, experience, whatever, right? With
Yeah.
the client, with the thinker, and then asks with tonal or whatever invitation to the client about how that's landing for them. So, an example of this is I was doing a coaching. I had several of these. So, in the coaching conversation, the client is talking about moving along a path and needing to know next steps. And I said, as you're talking about that, I'm seeing this pathway open up in front of us. How does that, how is that what's happening here? Is that we're walking along a path? And they said, no, that's not at all what we're doing. We're crossing a river. And actually, in China, we say you cross a river by feeling the stones. And I don't know if you've ever been fishing, and if you've ever been fishing in a river that
I like
is
that.
like, well, I mean I've gone up to Alaska and done fly fishing, and there is a strong current in a river, and there are big slimy rocks in rivers, and they're not all like beach rivers that you can just gently cross. And so that somatic experience of needing to feel the rock as we're
Mm.
moving through this like watery landscape, right? And I was like blown away, number one, by the metaphor, but I also wasn't attached to mine.
Right, right, right.
So I let go of mine. Forget it. It's not a path that's opening up. It's a river. And I go, is that what we're doing? Crossing a river? And she goes, yes. And I said, what is the first rock we need to feel? And she knew
Oh,
exactly what it was. And so we crossed this river one rock at a time, feeling each one as we went. And this is another example of the power of the metaphor that's coming from the thinker versus the coach, the thought partner, and also the somatic experience. If you've ever walked in a river, if you've ever walked over rocks,
hmm.
you've had
Yeah.
that. What is the care I need to take? I had to get another client talk about, she really wanted to do some excavation. I go, what are we excavating? She goes, there's these rocks. I need to turn them over. And I go, so are we turning over rocks today? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, which rock do we excavate first? And clients always know when you're using their language. They already know what it means.